Injuries, so BYU here late in the season is going to try to figure it out and to maybe recalibrate a little bit without a tremendous player in Saunders, who contributed about 18 points per game and a lot of other things as well. The hometown Wildcats are in dark blue. Mo Krivas draws a double team. He is trapped down in the corner but gets out of it. Braden Burries leaves the three a little bit short, and here comes Robert Wright III. Now look at the BYU starting lineup. It is Mihailo Bošković stepping in a starting spot for Richie Saunders. And Robert Wright III, you mentioned him. Dibonsa can score like crazy, but so can Wright. He's coming off back-to-back games where he scored 30 and then 39.
And in those two games, he's 6 of 9 from three-point range. But where he's really devastating is penetrating into the lane, where he can make those short shots. He can probe and find open teammates.
Jaden Bradley, who's the head of the snake for Arizona, just picked up his first foul. This Kennard Davis Jr. can't get all the way to the rim. The toss back to Bošković, who misses the three, and Tobe Awaka with the first of what undoubtedly, Jay, is a lot of rebounds here in this game.
Best offensive rebounder per minute in the country. And he's going to play a lot more minutes in this one than normal.
Yep, no Koa Pete again for Arizona. A muscular strain in his lower leg, so he is out for this game and their next one against Houston, as Braden Burries, outstanding freshman, knocks down a three. At the other end, no for Dibonsa.
Arizona going to look to get the ball up court, go high-low, and get the ball inside. They are a paint-scoring team. And you're going to see BYU try to pack it in, make them prove it over the top.
Both of these teams score well into the 80s, and they played into the 80s in Provo a few weeks ago. Arizona with a three-point victory over BYU. The Cougars would love a little revenge here in Tucson.
Boy, that was a heck of a rebound by A.J. Dibonsa.
He'll line up a three. And another rebound for Awaka.
His hands are like vice grips. When he gets it with both hands, you're not getting it away from him.
He is one of the strongest players in the country. Keita won as well, and that was Keita meeting Bradley at the rim.
Boy, what a meeting at the summit. Big time block.
Wright takes a bump and then soft off the glass. The Cougars are on the board.
And that's what BYU needs, is defense that turns into offense. And over the last 5 games, it's been difficult for BYU to get stops. They're giving up 86 points a game.
They have won 2 in a row, a win at Baylor, then an overtime win at home against Colorado. In that game, Saunders was injured in the first minute of the game. Krivas taps it out, but into the hands of Davis. Bošković wide open, and now 0 for 2 from three-point range.
Bošković is a good shooter, but he's got to knock down those open ones. That's 2 open shots where they've kicked it to him, and he hasn't been able to knock it down.
Great atmosphere as always here at McHale. Burries thought about it. He can beat you with the shot. He can beat you with the drive. Mid-range jumper won't go. Keita the rebound.
Well, you got 2 grown men, and Keita and Tobe Awaka on the floor. Those two going against each other. It's like a sumo wrestling match.
Keita 6'8", 240. Awaka 6'8", 250.
I think he's 260.
Dibonsa, that is his favorite spot, right at that Big 12 logo to elevate, and you can't stop that.
Well, he's 6'9". He's got over a 7-foot wingspan. And those long stride, it's really difficult. When he gets up in the air, you're going to bother it, but you can't block that.
Double team immediately on Krivas. Awaka, who normally comes off the bench, but starting for the injured Pete, and Krivas fouled at the rim.
Kennard Davis just a little bit late getting there to be able to pick up Modieu's Krivas as he went to the basket.
Tommy Lloyd has won almost 80% of his games in 5 seasons as the head coach here at Arizona. One thing he has never done, Jay, is lose 3 in a row, and they bring a 2-game losing streak in here. Again, as you said, to 2 very good teams, Kansas and Texas Tech. And their only 2 losses of the season. They are still clearly one of the best teams in the country. Kevin Young in his 2nd season as the head coach of the BYU Cougars. A long history of coaching at the pro level. 9 years in the G League. 9 years as an assistant between the Sixers and the Suns in the NBA. And a guy born in Salt Lake City. So coaching in his home state when he coaches BYU. And that first game between the two really interesting. Arizona had a big lead, up 19, and Kevin Young's team got it down to 1 possession in the last 30 seconds of the game. Just couldn't quite get over the hump.
They had a shot to win it, but Braden Burries blocked a shot under the basket by Robert Wright III. That was an amazing comeback. And BYU did it from the 3-point line. I mean, Kennard Davis made 5 threes in the second half.
BYU hit 13. Arizona only hit 4, but still won the game. And Arizona shoots the 3 about as infrequently as any team in the nation. More on that later as Rob Wright puts the Cougars on top.
Well, that's his game. He loves to penetrate, and he can make those short jumpers, especially when pressured.
Anthony Del Orso in off the bench for Arizona. He launches a 3 and hits it.
Del Orso can really shoot it. That's his 28th 3 of the season. He's not shot his best percentage this year, but man, when he's open, he shoots a great ball.
Not much he can do at the other end with Dibonsa, and BYU is back on top.
Well, even after a made basket, Dan, that quick attack by BYU is going to be effective.
Last 4 games, Dibonsa is averaging 30 a game. And his season high came before that stretch, had 43 in a game against Utah. Baseline Burries. Awaka in and out. It's loose. And the putback won't go for C.D. Gay, a sparingly used player, but he will get some time. Again, Koa Pete is out with an injury, will not play tonight, so Tommy Lloyd's got to go a little bit deeper into his bench.
Boy, Dibonsa, when he grabs that rebound, he can rip and run and bring it up himself, and he had Jaden Bradley guarding him and just backed him down and turned toward the baseline. Just beautifully done by A.J. Dibonsa.
And maybe this is ominous for Arizona. There are games where Dibonsa puts up big numbers, but almost all of it is in the second half. He's off to a hot start here right out of the chute tonight.
Well, he knows with Richie Saunders out, he has to do more, and he's capable of more.
Bradley will bank it in, and the lead is down to 1 for the Cougars.
Not many point guards in America are having a better season than Jaden Bradley, and he's doing it at both ends of the floor for Arizona.
Right off the dribble. No. Keita keeps it alive. And it's going to be tied up under the basket, and nobody wants to let go of the ball right now. And the crowd is loving the early energy, Mr. Billis, in this game here tonight.
Well, both teams are getting up and down the floor. It's a physical game. Anthony Del Orso off the relocation pass with a catch and shoot.
We welcome you back here to McHale Center here in Tucson. We understand that we are having some technical difficulties with cameras and so forth. So we are going to keep calling the game for you here, and hope we can provide all the info that you need from this big-time matchup. Here's a steal from Del Orso. He will knock it down to tie the game. What a good start tonight for Anthony Del Orso, who's already got 5.
BYU trying to throw long on that out of bounds underneath, and Del Orso read that like a free safety to intercept it and take it for a touchdown.
By the way, the early basket by Braden Burries, called a 3 on the floor, was changed to a 2 at the break. That's why it was 10-9 going to break, 10-8 coming out. Alexei Kostic, who knocked down a couple of threes for BYU in their win over Colorado on Saturday. A nice little floater to put him back on top.
And Evan Nelson, the transfer from Harvard, in the game, number 21 for Arizona.
Here's a steal by Hadim Boop. And Boop with the 2-handed slam.
Boy, that's a couple of defensive plays that BYU has made to take the other way and get an easy score. And if you can play ahead of the Arizona defense, that's going to be really helpful to the cause.
Boy, a good strong drive there by Ivan Karchenkov, initiating the contact and drawing the foul. Karchenkov sometimes, Jay, kind of the forgotten man in this starting lineup for Arizona, but a really, really good player.
He's a terrific cutter. He just knows how to play. And as he becomes a better, more comfortable shooter, and honestly, Dan, with Koa Pete out, he's got the opportunity to grow as an offensive player because more's needed from him out there.
Aren't there opportunities, and you never like to see injuries. Let's be clear about that. We feel terribly for Richie Saunders. You hope Koa Pete can come back soon. Also, Dwayne Aristote is out with an illness again for Arizona. But because of the injuries and the illness, there are opportunities where both coaches would love a guy or two on their respective teams to step into that void and really provide some much needed production.
Well, you made the point. It's not just opportunity, it's need. And a lot of times players need to be needed. And when they're not looking over their shoulder, they know they're not going to come out. They can play with a free mind.
How about Dibansa? Step back three, not there. And the putback won't go for Abdullah Ahmed, who had good inside position but couldn't make it. Bradley looking inside for his big guy in Kribas. Again, the immediate double team by BYU.
And Mares really went quickly. That's the key to that trap. Get it there fast.
Karchenkov cross court. Nelson, the Harvard transfer, has not played much, but they need minutes out of him tonight. Del Orso, no. Tipped out by Karchenkov.
Smart play by Karchenkov. You can't grab it, tip it out.
Bradley almost dribbled it off his knee. Shot clock at 10. The double again. Del Orso on the drive, draws the foul. He is off to a terrific start tonight for Tommy Lloyd.
Well, the key there, Dan, was Del Orso caught it on the run. You don't want to catch it.
It's doubleheader here on ESPN. It begins with NC State and number 9 Duke at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then number 7 LSU, number 17 Ole Miss at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Here it's BYU leading Arizona by 2. The Cougars have won 2 in a row. The Wildcats have lost 2 in a row. Arizona beat BYU in Provo by 3 a few weeks ago. Every night, it seems, there is a huge game in the Big 12. A lot of these top teams in the league, Jay, have had their schedules backloaded, so the schedule is even more challenging now than it was, say, in January.
It's a gauntlet going down the stretch as these teams head toward the Big 12 tournament. For Arizona, they're tied for first in the league in the loss column. That's why this game is so big, because they've got so many big ones coming up,
including a game at Houston Saturday on ABC. Dibansa picks up his dribble. Now Kostic gives it right back to him. Baseline jumper, short. Arizona ball.
10 of the 14 points from BYU have come from Wright and Dibansa. They've got to get some other guys knocking some shots down when they're open.
The double again. Good ball movement. Del Orso off to a very confident start here in this one.
Del Orso drove the closeout after the ball reversal. His decisions are excellent. And he hit a couple of big buckets off out of bounds underneath against Texas Tech. That could very well have been the difference were it not for JT Toppin as his heroics.
He's got 9 of their 16 tonight, and now Rob Wright has his pocket picked. Del Orso swings it to Burries. Tipped back out by Karchenkov. Second time he's done that tonight.
A.J. Dibansa was about to get that with both hands, but Karchenkov just tipped it away from him.
Del Orso the drive. The follow for Kribas. Kevin Young wants a timeout. Arizona on a quick 6-0 run. Timeout BYU. We're back in 30. doubleheader coming your way Friday night. Game 1. Cooper Flagg and the Mavs. Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves, 7:30 Eastern time. And then the late game, it's the Battle of Los Angeles between the Clippers and the Lakers at 10 Eastern. Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Jalen Rose sitting in for Shaq will tip off our coverage at 6:30 Eastern time. Led by Anthony Del Orso, Arizona has a 4-point lead on BYU. Let's bring Chris Button in.
You know, Kevin Young has dealt with this before when you're down a man and you need someone. It's Braden Burris takes this the opposite way. He was one time in a G League game, 3 hours before the game starts. He gets a call from his GM and he says, hey, we're gonna need your top player. He's like, we got tip off in 3 hours. So he's dealt with this where a man is down and he's had to figure out how to replace them, which is why he told his team before they left the huddle and shoot around, all you guys that are on the bench, you have wanted and waited for this moment. It is your chance to step up today.
A big, big loss, Chris, thank you. And Richie Saunders, who again tore his ACL in the first minute of their game against Colorado on Saturday. And also, I mean, the entire season they've been without Nate Pickens, a transfer from UC Riverside, ankle surgery. Dawson Baker suffered an injury in late November. He was pretty constantly a double-figure scorer for them. So they are not the team, Jay, physically that Kevin Young envisioned they would be when he put it together.
And the Richie Saunders injury, the ACL tear, was just heartbreaking. Richie Saunders is a great player. That performance he put on at Allen Fieldhouse, where he had 33 points and 10 rebounds, was magnificent. But what not only a great player, but what a credit to the game Richie Saunders has been. And I hope he's watching this game. He's not here. He's preparing to have surgery. But what an amazing individual he's been for college basketball, for BYU. And just a great, great player that I think is going to have a terrific NBA career.
Yeah, his college career is over, but hopefully this won't hold him back for too long as he looks to make his way to the next level. And you could say the same thing. This league has had a tough week. You could say the same thing about JT Toppin, who unquestionably has been playing at a first-team All-America level. We just saw him here on Saturday. Last night tore his ACL in a game up in Tempe against Arizona State. He is done for the year, so this league has lost 2 of its very best players.
Karchenkov doing a great job of getting downhill and drawing help, and then Awaka able to just cut along the baseline and present himself under the basket.
How many coaches have the luxury of bringing a guy like Tobe Awaka off the bench, or in this case stepping into the starting lineup with Koa Pete still out with an injury?
One?
Yeah, I think you're right. He basically averages 10 and 10 in about 20 or 21 minutes of game time.
His productivity has been so impressive, and such a high-level rebounder and really a good defender. He moves his feet extraordinarily well.
With a nice feed off to Boop, who's got a chance for 3.
Kennard Davis able to turn the corner and get into the paint and just probe. And Boop found himself open under the basket, and another really nice finish by Hadim Boop.
Boop, who came through the NBA Academy in Africa. Good rebounder. He's had 10 or more in a game 3 times this season,
including one against Baylor. Had 4 offensive boards, which they'll need tonight in this one.
Again, we are experiencing some technical difficulties, unable to show replays, limited camera angles, but we hope you can still hear and see and feel this game as it is going on. A 1-point lead for the hometown Wildcats. The jumper from Bradley.
Boy, good screen up top, and Jaden Bradley, his mid-range game is so on point. He's been so efficient this year, and has had such a mature game.
Dibonsa doesn't get the roll. Wanted the foul call, didn't get it. Here comes Burries.
Nobody draws more fouls in college basketball than A.J. Dibonsa. Shoots about 8.5, 9 free throws a game. Got to keep him off the foul line.
Burries pulls up for 3. And Ahmed the rebound for BYU. Kevin Young thought Ahmed got pushed in the back. Lou Davis baseline. Nice find. Nice extra pass. right for three. Good offense from the Cougars.
And one of the keys to that was Hadim Boop ran the floor. That was a rim run sprinting, and that dragged the defense. And Kennard Davis was open on the left. And they did a nice job of reversing the ball and finally finding Robert Wright III.
Wright's got 7, DeBonce's got 8, so they between them at 15 to the 21 for the Cougars. Privas with the left.
Well, you let Privas get 2 feet in the paint right above the charge circle, and that's going to be a score, a foul, or both.
And many here at McHale Center now on their feet. DeBonce drives, and he will score with the left to tie up this game again.
You telling me that's not an NBA offensive game? Those long strides, he can get to his spots and elevates with the left hand over a good shot blocker in Mo Privas.
Double figures already for DeBonce.
He could have 40.
Karchenkov, who is not a scorer, but he's a rim protector and a good rebounder.
You want Karchenkov to take that shot, but you just don't want to settle. And Arizona gets its work done in the paint. And they only had 26 paint points against Texas Tech in that overtime loss.
Wright getting into the paint, had it knocked away, and a foul is called. And it'll be Rob Wright at the free throw line when we come back. Arizona, BYU rolls.
And the key for BYU on the road here in McHale is to pack the paint, make Arizona see a lot of bodies, and make them prove it over the top. But included in that, you got to hang on the glass with Arizona. Arizona's one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country.
They are 3rd in the nation in rebound margin. They are 4th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. But to your point about the three-point shooting, they are in the bottom 10 in the nation out of 365 teams in how many threes they attempt per game and the percentage of their points that come off threes. They really need to dominate inside to kind of overcome their lack of three-point shooting.
And still, without the prolific three-point shooting, they average 88 points a game and shoot 51% from the field.
Chris.
That was everything Kevin Young reiterated to his team in that huddle, is we got to force them to be on the outside, make them pass, make them shoot threes, and on the offensive end, want you to be aggressive taking it to the rim.
It was a big focal point at shoot around today. Don't overreact to a three here or there. Make them earn it from the outside as Karchenkov pulls up for a 2.
Yeah, Karchenkov able to refuse that ball screen up top. Just a simple one dribble pull up from about 8-9 feet.
Who in your mind is the best matchup on Arizona against DeBonce?
Well, Karchenkov, because he's got size, he's strong.
It's Burries on him right now. DeBonce elevates, and it goes.
I mean, tell me how you're going to stop that with those long strides and how high he gets, able to fade away. You may be able to get a little bit of pressure, but he's not sweating that.
Averaging over 24 a game. He's basically halfway there already with a dozen. C.D. Gay back into the game for Arizona. Karchenkov. Arizona's second 3 of the game in 9 attempts.
Boy, there was zero hesitation. That was a catch and shoot. He was catching it to shoot it, not ready to shoot.
DeBonce. And it is out of bounds off DeBonce. It's Arizona ball.
Ivan Karchenkov is an excellent defender. And if he can start knocking down threes, that's going to open up more driving lanes for him. And he's such a good cutter.
And it's not that Arizona shoots the 3-ball poorly. They just don't shoot very many of them at all. Their percentage is basically the same as BYU's. Maybe they're looking to change their tune a little bit here as Burries knocks one down.
Well, Burries is their best three-point shooter at 29 points when Arizona played at BYU. Also had 3 steals in that game.
He is trying to stay in front of DeBonce, who spins and kicks. Right the step back. Got it. Big bucket for the Cougars.
Just off a 39-point game against Colorado where he went 12 of 16 from the field. That is efficient.
Made all 4 of his threes. How often does a guy set a career high and then break it the very next game? That's what Rob Wright has done in his last 2.
A lot of guys do it when their career high is like 6, but his was 30.
Yep. Taken away by the Cougars. DiBonsa into the front court. Looks over, now gets him going. Look at the show there by Gay, but Wright keeps on driving and draws the foul.
He's so good as getting his shoulders past the defender and then drawing that contact. And he's stronger than he looks.
It has been close from the get-go here in Tucson. Right now, Arizona's up by points. You love to see these guys put up huge numbers, but Jay, without Saunders, who's out for the rest of the year, for BYU to be really, really good, they need some other guys to chip in here and there, right?
Absolutely, and especially when you have an open opportunity. Whether it's Boskovic or Kostic, guys have to hit open shots. Kennard Davis.
Boskovic has not scored tonight. Queta has not scored tonight. Davis has not scored tonight. DiBonsa finds Wright. Misses the 3. Awaka the rebound.
Heck of a rebound by Tobe Awaka with the right hand as it was shooting out toward the sideline.
Burries and Bradley exchanging up top.
A 2-3 look. Almost a shell, just protecting the elbows and the blocks.
Burries again, and who said Arizona can't make enough threes? They've made their last 3 in a row, and they've got 2 more threes tonight than the Cougars have.
Well, any three-point look that Burries gets, he's got to take it. He's a great shooter.
DiBonsa blocked at the rim. Burries is slow to get up. It's Arizona ball, and DiBonsa is having trouble, Jay, a little bit here tonight, getting to that finishing spot where he can lay it in or dunk it.
Well, especially if you're going off just one pass, you're going against a set defense. And when BYU has been able to move the ball first and move the defense, A.J. DiBonsa and Robert Wright III have had much better opportunities.
By the way, DiBonsa has not come out of this game. He's played all 16 to 52. Rob Wright has been out for less than a minute.
Still sticking with this 2-3 look.
Awaka looking inside for Krivas. Now Bradley. Del Orso the drive off the glass, no good, and Queta the rebound. Ball is loose. DiBonsa is down. Here comes Wright, and DiBonsa slow to get up as Wright misses the 3, and Boop rips a rebound away for Krivas.
Spectacular rebound by Boop.
DiBonsa short on the 3, now 5 for 13 from the floor.
And I thought Burries might pull up and take that 3 in transition.
Bradley sizing up his defender, the jumper over Kostic, who is down to the rebound and is fouled by Krivas. It'll be his second. And Krivas will head to the bench, likely for the last 2:09 of the first half. So they go smaller. Awaka slides to the 5. He's on Queta right now, and Karchenko kind of playing a small ball 4.
Be surprised if Queta doesn't come out and set a middle ball screen at some point. He's so good at that in a roll.
Wright couldn't get it to go, and it's out of bounds. Still BYU ball.
Arizona is a really good defensive team. They can challenge at the rim. They put good pressure on the ball.
They are 3rd in the nation in adjusted defensive efficiency per KenPom. Kostic finds a little bit of room, and the follow for Queta.
Queta is an excellent offensive rebounder himself. just under 3 offensive rebounds per game. His second jump is excellent.
Those are his first points of the game, and it brings BYU back within 3.
He still gets some penetration against this 2-3 look. You just don't want to windshield wiper it around the top.
Burries not this time from beyond the arc, and Boop, who has had a very nice first half for Kevin Young, down with a rebound. DiBonsa fouled on this trip.
When Boop grabbed that rebound, quick outlet, and that's what BYU needs to do. They need to play ahead of this Arizona defense before it can get set.
Crowd got to look at the replay and did not feel there was a lot of contact on that play, but here is DiBonsa to the line. And as you mentioned, he gets there a ton, averages about 8.5 free throw attempts per game, shooting 75% from the stripe. Got them both as that one rattles around and in. Final minute of the first half. Another 3. This time it's Del Orso. And he's into double figures. Bradley with a steal and a lay-in. And we welcome you here to McHale Center in Tucson, where right now Arizona has its largest lead of the game. Anthony Del Orso just knocked down a 3. Jaden Bradley a steal and a lay-in, and a 6-point lead. Jay, is the largest that either team has had so far in this game.
Well, Arizona going against a BYU defense that is packing it in to make the Wildcats prove it over the top. They've been guarding the elbows and blocks. They've had a 2-3 look, excuse me, with a little zone. And Arizona just exploded for 5 straight points with that Del Orso 3 from the left wing, and that Jaden Bradley steal and layup.
And we know we are just joining you now on ESPN after that double overtime thriller with Alabama beating Arkansas. Anthony Del Orso's been a huge story tonight for Arizona. He's got a dozen off the bench. A.J. DiBonsa has 14 points to lead all scorers, but he is 5 for 13 from the floor, 0 for 3 from 3. Arizona, contrary to their numbers for most of the season, they are doing better from 3-point range in this game than BYU is. The Cougars are just 2 for 9, and the Wildcats, Jay, are 5 for 13.
Well, BYU is giving them those shots, and Arizona has stepped up, especially Del Orso and Braden Burries, to knock those down.
And a foul on C.D. Gay.
And those are the fouls you don't want to give up. I mean, 30-some feet from the basket, and you like the fact that C.D. Gay is playing hard, but you can't put DiBonsa on the free throw line from that far away.
And A.J. DiBonsa is as good, if not better, than anybody in the college game at drawing fouls. He knows exactly what he is trying to accomplish out there. It is number 2 on Gay. He will sit. And DiBonsa back to the line, where he has knocked down all 4 so far here tonight.
DiBonsa has seen just about every defense imaginable in his young career, and still he's got 4 30-point games, including a 43-point game against Utah. He is just a big-time player. His last 4 games, he's averaging 30.
Yep. And he might be well on his way tonight. He's got 16 now to bring BYU back within 4, as Arizona can hold for the final shot of the first half. BYU
really needs not just to get initial first shot defense right, but they can't allow a second shot.
Take the ball into Bradley's hands, speed him up a little bit. 8 seconds on the clock, and Bradley is fouled by DeBonsa, but BYU had 1 to give. So that'll be side out of bounds for Arizona now with just under 7 seconds to go. Just the first on DeBonsa.
Jaden Bradley can catch this and get on the run.
Which is what he is doing. Gets into the paint. Won't go. Awaka in there looking for the rebound. Out of bounds to Arizona with 0.8 of a second remaining in the half.
Now, 0.8 gives enough time for a quick catch and shoot, or they can throw it up for a controlled tip near the rim.
Kevin Young just brought more size in as Beto Ahmed has taken the place of Rob Wright. Ahmed on the ball.
And you got to watch Karchenkov on a slip.
Pretty good look for Del Orso. They will look at it to make sure that it beat the clock. But assuming that
Been making so many of them in the first half, and that's still the plan. He said, listen, that's not how Arizona wants to play, so I still want to force them to have to do that, but I would like us to stay to probably a half a foot closer to them defensively.
they only made 4 threes in their win over BYU 3 weeks ago. They made 5 in the first half here tonight.
Well, and you especially have to pay attention to Burries and to Del Orso.
Del Orso did his damage coming off the bench in the first half. And it's the same starting 5 out there for Tommy Lloyd here to begin the second half. Kennard Davis, who barely played in the first half, picked up a couple of early fouls. He's a guy who can give him a little bit of offense as DeBonsa turns it over, but then it bounces back to Wright. DeBonsa, the step in short from the baseline, and a foul is called as he tried to knock it away from Krivas, but he's called for foul number 2.
Just trying to knock it away from Krivas. It looked like he got all ball on that one.
He was standing right behind Krivas, and you could tell that Krivas didn't know he was there, but it's number 2 on DeBonsa.
And I don't think BYU needs to change its game plan, but what they want to do is just get out quicker from those elbows and blocks to get to a shooter.
Bradley to a cutting Karchenkov.
Ivan Karchenkov is one of the best cutters in the Big 12. And if you're one of the best cutters in the Big 12, you're one of the best cutters in the country.
Jaden Bradley, Jay, with assist number 8 already. His career high is 10. Davis stopped by Burries.
Arizona doing a nice job of staying between BYU and the basket, making everything tough.
How good is Rob Wright at getting into the lane?
He's just so quick, and we talked about it in the first half. Unusual strength for a guy his size. He can really bully you when he gets in the lane.
Awaka surrounded. The kick out to Burries. Still going. Bothered at the rim, and here come the Cougars.
But Burries should have taken that perimeter shot.
DeBonsa to Wright. Offensive rebound, DeBonsa. Blocked. Krivas averages about 2 per game.
Oh.
Bradley with a scoop and finish.
Boy, what a beautiful break. Treating that free throw line as a stop sign and getting it to Jaden Bradley for a beautiful finish.
Boy, that was a big swing. BYU had a couple of great looks at this end. DeBonsa floats it up and in. He's got 18.
Boy, those long strides, so graceful, and he gets up so high.
Krivas running the floor well, but couldn't finish.
Nice job by Boop to stay between Krivas and the basket, make him shoot over.
Wide open, DeBonsa. And Awaka beats out Keita for that rebound.
2 grown men going after that ball.
A bit of a frenetic pace here to begin the second half. Bradley will slow it down. Shot clock at 10. Awaka, the corner 3, around and out. Krivas the rebound. And again, Bradley never in a rush. You just cannot speed him up.
What a pass.
Awaka, no. Davis down with it for BYU. Davis trying to go end to end, and he draws the foul.
BYU's had some success in transition, whether off a make or a miss. You're going to get a better shot early than you can grinding it out in the half court against this Arizona defense.
And Jay, that is number 3 on Mo Krivas. He is going to come out of the game here early in the second half. Tommy Lloyd has C.D. Gay ready to check in for him. Krivas looking for an explanation there from Kip Kissinger, one of the officials in this game. As Moo Davis knocks down the first, not only Gay coming in, but also Del Orso, who was a star in the first half for Arizona.
And C.D. Gay, a 6'11" freshman from Senegal. He's got a 7'4" wingspan.
Has not played a lot. 17 appearances, 53 minutes the entire season coming into the game tonight. But again, with Koa Pete out again tonight, they are thinner up front, and Tommy Lloyd is having to improvise. Owaka struggling to come up with it. It is still loose down on the deck, and eventually it'll be a held ball.
Should go to BYU.
Arrow pointing in that direction, and it will be Cougars basketball.
And BYU going with a 2-big lineup with Ahmed and Keita.
Let me ask you this question. Arizona's lost 2 in a row, but they're still 10-2 in the league, ranked 4th in the nation. BYU has won 2 in a row, but overall they have lost 5 of their last 8. Who needs this game more tonight, in your opinion?
I don't know that you can choose one. I mean, you know, Arizona is tied for the top of the league in the loss column. So, you know, you need every game in this league.
Davis into DiBanza. Short on the jumper.
A nice job by Del Orso to force a turnaround fadeaway.
And DiBanza, Jay, who was 6 for 24 in the first game against Arizona, is 6 for 17 in this one. Make it 6 for 18. My mistake. Karchenkov knocks down a 3, and the three-point line continues to be a weapon tonight for the Wildcats.
Karchenkov had 13 points against Texas Tech, but he went 4 of 14 from the field. Much more efficient in this one.
Arizona now 7 of 16 from beyond the arc. The finish there for A.J. DiBanza.
Well, you really have to be alert on the weak side. If A.J. DiBanza is able to get all the way to the rim, forget it.
Kevin Young had a pretty animated conversation with official Roger Ayers, thinking that DiBanza had been fouled before he had gotten to the rim.
There probably aren't many possessions where he's not bumped. Boy, good help by Keita.
Bradley up top, and Gay with a finish.
With poor communication when Keita helped out.
Boy, Jaden Bradley's got great vision. 9 assists now tonight. Davis no. Karchenkov for the Wildcats. Noisy as always here at McHale Center. We are 6 minutes into the second half. The hometown team with an 8-point lead. Bradley. Del Orso. Follow will go for C.D. Gay. Giving him big minutes off the bench tonight.
Just quicker to the ball after Del Orso ghosted out of that screen to get the shot.
And Kevin Young needs a timeout. Koa Pete out. Krivas on the bench with 3 fouls. C.D. Gay making the most of his opportunity.
And this is the kind of contribution they need from the bench.
He has 629 points, 3 shy of tying, 4 from breaking Danny Ainge's program record for most points by a Cougar as a freshman.
Now, come on. There were color photographs when Danny Ainge played. That wasn't taken by Matthew Brady.
Sean Bradley, number 3 on that list. Danny Ainge, the CEO of the Jazz, played forever, has been in management of the NBA forever. Also played a couple of years of Major League Baseball with the Toronto Blue Jays.
One of the great athletes you'll ever come across. He was All-American in football, basketball, and baseball in high school out of Oregon.
DeBonsa, no, kept alive by Ahmed, but here comes Del Orso. Nobody stops the ball. What a gift there for Del Orso, and he's got 17.
Anthony Del Orso is having a career game. Played his first 2 years at Campbell. He's from Australia. He averaged 20 points a game playing for the Campbell Camels.
The fighting Camels shot 41% from 3 a season ago, did Del Orso. A timeout.
They've had more 30-point wins this year than any other team. And Dan, they've just got another gear.
I think it is 10 30-point wins and 7 40-point wins this year. They went into Mackey Arena a night ago, one of the toughest places to play in the nation, against a very good Purdue team. Fell behind early and then just went on an enormous run and led by double digits most of the way, wound up winning by 11. 91-80. Michigan has lost only once this year, Duke only twice, and Tobey Awaka just saying, this ball, this basket are mine, get out of the way.
Well, it was a great pass by Karchenkov, but even with that shot getting blocked, the second effort by Tobey Awaka.
DeBonsa, another example of those ridiculously long strides that he's got.
He can really get anywhere on the floor that he wants, but right now BYU really needs a stop.
DeBonsa now with a game-high 23. Del Orso leads Arizona with 17. Floater by Karchenkov, nicely done.
C.D. Gay setting the screen, then rolling to the basket. Not enough resistance on the ball to keep Karchenkov out of the lane.
Good minutes from C.D. Gay tonight for Tommy Lloyd.
Well, Karchenkov's had an excellent game at both ends of the floor.
Awaka knocks it free. Bošković is open, misses the 3. And BYU still with just 2 made threes in this game, now in 13 tries.
Arizona has really gone after the players other than Robert Wright and A.J. DeBonsa, making sure that they don't get anything. And if they're going to get beat, Wright and DeBonsa are going to have to do it all.
Those two have 36 of their 46. Air ball Karchenkov, and it'll be BYU basketball when we come back. The Cougars have scored only 11 points here in the second half. Arizona's extended the lead, but 11-2 in the league. Arizona 10-2 in the league. Kansas right now is up big on Oklahoma State. West Virginia right now is trailing at home to Utah. A lot of huge games coming in the last few weeks of the regular season here in the Big 12.
Iowa State looks so good in that win over Houston and Hilton Coliseum. The one spot where they may be a little bit vulnerable, and not a great free throw shooting team. What a great Euro step by A.J. DeBonsa.
That gives him 25, and that also gives him that BYU freshman scoring record we were talking about, as he just moved ahead of Danny Ainge.
But Arizona's done a great job of shutting off everybody else. It's been either DeBonsa or Wright, and no one else has really been able to contribute much offensively.
Karchenkov has had a very good second half for the Wildcats. Braden Burry's back into the game for Arizona. Karchenkov has to get a shot off and hits.
How poised was Ivan Karchenkov? Now that's 16 points and 6 rebounds for the freshman.
And a travel called on Kostic at the other end. And Karchenkov getting the crowd all fired up.
Boy, just a little fade away off that left foot. And Karchenkov trying to get the crowd to come with him. And he has been excellent at both ends of the floor in this game. One of the really good defenders in the Big 12.
This is the largest lead of the game for Arizona. The Wildcats trying to snap a 2-game losing streak, up by 13. Bradley from 17. How pure is that? As we check in with Chris.
Kevin Young was hoping we got a couple stops, we could slow down them feeling themselves in the momentum. He said everything that they're doing on offense starts on the glass. You have to be committed on the boards.
BYU fighting it right now. They had lost 5 out of 6 before winning their last 2. Those were at Baylor and then at home against Colorado in overtime. So BYU not clicking on all cylinders and now dealing with the reality of no Richie Saunders the rest of the season. And Kevin Young continues to pace up and down that sideline, Jay, trying to figure out who can help DeBonsa and Wright.
Well, Arizona has just shut off the offensive glass for BYU. There have been very few second chance opportunities. The first shot defense from Arizona has been excellent, but they've done an even better job of limiting BYU to just 1 attempt per possession.
BYU sitting in a zone, it looks like, as Arizona comes up the court on this trip. Bradley again off the back of the iron, and DeBonsa leads the Cougars into the front court. And a foul called on Braden Burries. And again, DeBonsa knows exactly what he is trying to do when he initiates contact.
Just the 3rd team foul on Arizona. Not legal guarding position, and to your point, DeBonsa just going right into the body of Burries to pick up that foul.
It will serve him very well at the next level. Mo Krivas checks back into the game for Arizona. He has been sitting for a while with 3 fouls. He forgot to take his warm-up top off, and Tobe Awaka, who he was replacing, said to him as he was high-fiving him on the way out, hey dude, you got to take the top off. You got your warm-up jersey on still. 2 great freshmen. Burries guarding DeBonsa. Now help from Krivas. The spin, the elevation, and the lay-in.
And the great screen assist by Keba Keita to screen off help so they couldn't get there to bother that shot at the rim.
27 now for DeBonsa, but it is still a 13-point game.
Well, this right now for BYU is about getting stops, and they can't just get a stop. It has to be consecutive stops to put some game pressure back on Arizona.
Burries, soft touch off the glass, but it won't go. But the whistle blows, and a foul underneath against the Cougars.
They got Morris on a push on Krivas. Krivas was right there for the offensive rebound, and Morris just nudged him out of the way. A subway push, as Louis Carnesecca used to say.
Back in your day, a nudge was not a foul, was it?
A nudge.
Bradley wants a ball screen from Karchenkov. Now Del Orso floats it off the glass.
What a rebound.
Ball is loose. Here comes DeBonsa. Still going. Short. Arizona ball. Bradley out ahead of the pack, and it will not go. Rolls off the rim to right. The crossover, and he leaves it short. Keita can't finish. The ball and bodies are flying all over the place.
BYU had a great opportunity there, but Braden Burries right in the way of Keita as he tried to go back up.
And Jaden Bradley did not get it into the front court in time. That's a 10-second call as he was walking the ball up the court. Wasn't aware of it, and that'll be a turnover. It'll be BYU ball when we come back. Travel around to various schools, watching a game, sitting in the student section. He does stand out just a little bit in that student section, but he knows how to have a good time, and those around him are having a good time as well.
Well, he actually was playing the triangle in the band during the first half.
And because he's so big, it looks like a kid's triangle or something you'd get out of a cereal box. I think it was a full-size triangle. It's just, he's Boban.
Robert Wright's got to get going. The last 7.5 minutes of regulation here. He hadn't scored in a while. It's been all A.J. DeBonsa. And BYU, Dan's only got 3 assists. It's all been isolation scoring.
this is a really good offensive team. And again, they're without Richie Saunders. So that is a huge change for them. But for them to have only 3 assists and only 2 3-pointers in this game is really stunning, given how good of an offensive team they have been this season.
Well, and only 2 second-chance points. Arizona's really shut off the offensive glass for BYU. It's been 1 and out.
Arizona out-rebounding BYU as well, and that's not a surprise. The Wildcats have out-rebounded every single opponent this year. Del Orso, it's his night, isn't it? He's got 20.
Anthony Del Orso relocated into the vision of Krivas, who split that trap with strength to pass out of it.
That'll tie his season high as he comes down with a rebound.
Boy, to get contributions like this from Karchenkov and Del Orso, that's big time. With Koa Pete and Dwayne Aristode unavailable because of injury and illness, respectively. Arizona with a short bench, and it played very well.
And Braden Burry's not having one of his better nights on the season. Just 3 for 11, 8 points. But Del Orso with 20, Karchenkov with 16.
Just getting into the vision of Krivas and presenting himself for that 3. You know, Del Orso makes such good decisions. And those, I think it was 2 shots that he made against Texas Tech off out of bounds underneath. Those were big buckets in that game.
It looked like, as Arizona turns it over, that Krivas might have gotten poked in the eye. He is still feeling it as it's out of bounds to BYU. Tommy Lloyd saying to Roger Ayers, one of the officials, he got hit right in the face. DeBonsa rises up for a 3 and buries it. He's got 30.
Boy, great lift on that shot, and he has really worked. It's coming off so much better off of his hand on the 3. He still shoots a little bit of a flat ball from 3, needs a little more arc on it, but he keeps getting better and better.
He is 36% for him beyond the arc on the season, and he has now scored BYU's last 12 points. But they still face an uphill battle, and it gets a little bit steeper after the 3 from Burries.
A great ball reversal by Arizona. Talk about it coming off your hand beautifully. Braden Burries has a spectacular stroke from 3.
How about Arizona, a team that has struck at 8:30 Eastern and will cap it all off with number 6 Iowa State and number 23 BYU. The Cougars will host the Cyclones in Provo. Iowa State still somehow, Jay, sometimes flies under the radar, even when they're having the kind of season they're having this year.
Well, they've got one of the best point guards in the country in Taman Lipsy, an excellent defender, and Milan Momcilovic, I think, is the best shooter in the country.
Better than 50% from 3 on the season.
That shot he hit against Kansas falling out of bounds in the left corner was ridiculous.
How about the win Iowa State had over Houston, 70-67 in Ames. Little Hilton magic on a Monday night. Around and out for Del Orso.
Good pass ahead.
DeBonsa dumps it off for Davis and just could not get the shot off.
Well, he was swarmed.
Now he's got some room and hits it. Just the 4th made 3 of the game for the Cougars, and they'll probably need a few more to get all the way back in this one.
Boy, that's a beautiful shot fake by Kennard Davis. One dribble sidestep for that 3. That was a big bucket for BYU.
That's his first made field goal of the game. As we move into the final 4 minutes of regulation, Arizona up 11.
BYU coming with the trap.
Krivas baseline, blocked by Queta. And which way will the officials decide on whose ball it will be? 3:49 to go in this one. Arizona up 11 on BYU. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. SVP, thank you very much. Looking forward to all of that coming up on SportsCenter with SVP. It's an 11-point lead for Arizona over BYU. 3:49 to go. How about this schedule for Arizona? After this game tonight, Jay, 3 of their final 5 regular season games are against top 10 teams. At Houston on Saturday, home to Kansas a week from Saturday, and then home to Iowa State just 2 days after that.
Anthony Del Orso stepped out of bounds and was the first to catch it, which cannot happen. He cut along the baseline and on his own, without being forced out, stepped out of bounds. And then when he caught it, it's an automatic turnover.
There you see the Arizona schedule. All kinds of big games, tough games for the Wildcats. A win tonight for Arizona, and the Wildcats and Houston would have identical 11-2 records atop the Big 12.
And nobody's going to say that Arizona wasn't tested at the end of the season.
Rob Wright, no. Ball's loose, out of bounds. And looks like it's staying at this end with BYU.
And even with this 11-point deficit right now for BYU, they get a couple scores, a couple of stops. And the tenor of this game is a lot different. And remember, they were down pretty big at BYU, came back with a chance to win it at the end.
A.J. DiBonsa with the ball and with more than half of BYU's points tonight, as Davis is fouled on a 3-point attempt, and that is the absolute last thing that Tommy Lloyd wanted to see.
They just want to put pressure on that shot. Tobe Awaka trying to fight over that screen by Keita, and just caught him with the body. You have to let Kennard Davis land when he takes off, and Kennard Davis shoots about 76% from the foul line.
Made 5 threes against Arizona in the first matchup between these two.
And those 5 threes all came in the second half. There's a 3-point barrage.
Averaged about 16 points per game last year with Southern Illinois. So on any given night, he can be a really good third offensive option. Again, now with Saunders, these guys are going to have to reconfigure, recalibrate a little bit. Tommy Lloyd, it looks like they will get Koa Pete back, and they will get Dwayne Aristode back, although the timetable is uncertain for each. But unfortunately for Richie Saunders and the Cougars, Saunders will not be coming back after tearing his ACL on the weekend.
Now BYU gets a stop here and a score on the other end, and we've got us a ball game.
It's an 8-0 run right now for the visitors. Inside 3 minutes to go. Jaden Bradley with 9 assists in this game draws the foul on Rob Wright, and Kevin Young is livid.
A really good job by Tobe Awaka to clear the space and drag his defender out. That allowed that drive. A little drag of the pivot foot by Jaden Bradley, but showed great poise in getting Robert Wright off the floor so he could draw that foul.
Bradley's first trip to the line tonight. He's an 80% free throw shooter on the season, and that's the first free throw attempt of the second half for the Wildcats.
From Rochester, New York, started his career at Alabama.
Made them both. Back to 10. Taken away by Karchenkov.
Ivan Karchenkov has had a fabulous basketball game.
Timeout, BYU. He's also having one heck of a good time. You can see the emotion on the face of Karchenkov all night long.
Well, on Saturday, he had to guard Christian Anderson at Texas Tech. And DiBonsa, that ball just slipped out of his hand trying to make that left-handed one-hand pass. And Karchenkov took advantage of it. But he goes from guarding Christian Anderson, one of the best guards in the country, to A.J. DiBonsa at times in this one. He doesn't shy away from any defensive assignment, but his offense has been a big part of this Arizona lead heading down the stretch.
18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. No Koa Pete, no Dwayne Aristote as well, so a shorter rotation. But Del Orso a huge game, Karchenkov a huge game, and maybe once Pete comes back, and he will, we believe, Arizona might be even better off.
Yeah, Arizona's had basically an 8-man rotation throughout the course of the year, Aristote being the 8th. But it's been a tight rotation and a very good one. But you get Koa Pete back in, and all of a sudden you're bringing Tobe Awaka off the bench, and he can play his normal 20 minutes where he's really productive in those 20 minutes. But BYU without Richie Saunders still trying to adjust to that after he was injured in the first minutes against Colorado. BYU able to win that game with Robert Wright III scoring 39 in that game, his second 30-point game in a row.
I think one of the differences between these two teams is Arizona can win a game even if their leading scorer or second leading scorer, if they don't have a big night. BYU can't do that. They need huge nights from Dibonsa and a big night from Wright, and they need some kind of a supporting cast. Tommy Lloyd's supporting cast, if you want to call a guy like Del Orso that, on any given night, they can step up and give you 20.
Well, Arizona just has more weapons, but their interior strength is impressive.
Davis, a challenge 3. Oh, my. Keba.
And that's just the 4th second chance point for BYU in this game. Arizona has shut off the glass on the Cougars.
A lot of pressure here from BYU on the inbounds, and they got the ball back.
Nobody blocks out Keba Keita, and that is a strategic error.
BYU forcing the turnover. Dibonsa to inbound. They need quick scores. Davis. Dibonsa for 3. It will go, and it's a 7-point game.
Unbelievable chops. I mean, BYU just doesn't quit.
He's got 33. Remember, they almost came back from 19 down in Provo against Arizona. Had a chance to take the lead late. Wound up losing by 3.
Boy, BYU may want to take a look at that. I thought that rolled off the hand of Jaden Bradley.
And Kevin Young agrees with you. He will challenge it. A coach's challenge here to determine whose ball it will be.
Boy, what a 3 by A.J. Dibonsa. Had pressure on him.
Is under review by
stepped into it, and that
BYU.
elevation is big time. Now, I thought this rolled off his hand. Yeah, I think Bradley was the last to touch that. I'm not sure I like that rule when somebody knocks it away if it kind of touches your fingertips at the end. Yeah, that's off Bradley. That's going to be BYU ball.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Watch the left foot of Davis. Does he touch the ball? No, the hand is gone from the ball before the foot is down out of bounds. So I agree with you.
I think it just rolled right off his fingertips. This might be one where if he cut his fingernails, it's going to be Arizona ball.
This could be an extremely well-used challenge by Kevin Young if they can get the ball back here. How about the Dibonsa 3 while we have a moment to look back at that?
Well, A.J. Dibonsa, this is points number 33 for him. Just a great shot rising up over an excellent defender. And that was really good defense by Ivan Karchenkov. He was right there to challenge it.
The officials have made their ruling. Kip Kissinger will tell everybody in the building. He'll go to the microphone momentarily, right, so we'll let him break the news.
The challenge is unsuccessful.
The challenge is unsuccessful. Doug Sermons, another one of the officials. And by the way, this is a veteran Final Four caliber crew here tonight. Kip Kissinger, Doug Sermons, Roger Ayers. Doug Sermons saying to us, you need indisputable evidence to overturn the call, and they did not feel they had that. Krivas here as BYU will do everything they can to keep forcing turnovers. Del Orso to inbound it for Arizona. He's running out of time, and he finds Krivas.
BYU's got to go after Arizona now. They don't have to worry about fouls. But you got to get a turnover here.
Shot clock down to 10. Del Orso whips a pass into Krivas. Dribbles out of a double. Now Bradley. Tough shot. What an angle. Almost hit it. Krivas down with the offensive rebound, and he's fouled.
Oh, what a huge defensive rebound by Mo Krivas. Went after that with 2 hands. Shot comes off long, and he came from the other side of the basket to go get that. Talk about rebounding out of your area. Hadim Boop was right there to get it, and Krivas just took him to the deck.
Neither team is near the bonus. Each team has committed just 4 here in the second half, and a wrestling match between Del Orso and Davis.
And that's BYU ball with the possession arrow.
Kevin Young does not have any timeouts remaining, so he's trying to holler out some instructions here. Just 1:16 to go. Del Orso sits for Tommy Lloyd as he starts going a little offense-defense here in the closing minutes.
Don't have to have a 3 here, but you certainly wouldn't turn it down.
Davis drives, flips it up and in, and it's a 5-point game.
Well, he really went right into the body of Krivas trying to draw a foul.
Into the final minute of regulation. Burries gets it over, and he is fouled. Number 5 on the Cougars.
Bernard Davis just turned the corner, got into the lane, and caught that ball on the run. Really got right into the body of Krivas, so he couldn't elevate to block that shot.
Into Karchenko. Ooh, DiBonsa almost took it away from him. Burries is open, and Keita smothered it.
What a block.
Davis cut off on the baseline. 40 seconds to go. A huge possession here and a turnover. Bradley. Del Orso.
And Arizona doing it defensively. What a great knockaway by Krivas.
So it's back to 7. DiBonsa trying to posterize. And a foul is called at the other end. BYU was that close to making it a 1-possession game, but the forced turnover and the run out get it back to a 7-point lead.
Well, you have to admire the fight in BYU, but Krivas knocks that ball away, and Del Orso gets the easy bucket on the other end as a result of the defense of his big man.
Bradley now with 10 assists in this game. That will tie his career high. Krivas to Del Orso. No need to force anything here. Another foul. And that will be number 7. So that will send Anthony Del Orso to the line for Arizona as the Wildcats are on the cusp of going to 11-2 in a Big 12 play and tying Houston for the top spot in the league. Taken away by Burries. And another foul, just 12.9 to go. Arizona got a real push here in the closing minutes from the Cougars, but it looks like, Jay, they have done and will do enough to win this game. The player of the game presented by Phillips 66, Anthony Del Orso, a season high 22.
Yeah, clearly his best game. He was a starter for most of last year, now coming off the bench. And I think I can say this with a degree of certainty. Anthony Del Orso is the best cricket player on the court.
Burries no. Right for three. Not there. Rebound Karchenkov. It is taken away by the Cougars, but the horn sounds. The game is over, and Arizona has snapped its two-game losing streak with a 75-68 win over BYU here tonight. Anthony Del Orso and Ivan Karchenkov, Jay, combining for 40 points in this game.
Karchenkov doing it at both ends.